Hello, this is Bettina Bizziello, and I'm here to show you how to make a template for writing a fiction novel document. Just to start, I should let you know that I am working with Word 2010. You might have an older version, you might have a newer version, whatever's fine. Most of the settings are okay. A lot of what we're going to be making changes on can be found in the Tools drop-down menu if you are working with an older version of Word. One of the things you may notice as I'm starting this out is that I have the Pilcrow activated. Now, there are certain things and settings that get retained and saved when you are using Word and you are logged in with a Microsoft account. For example, if you are a science fiction or fantasy writer, and let's just say you have some obscure name for an alien, and you notice that as soon as you write it, there's like a nice red underline. Meaning that it cannot locate that word or name in a dictionary, and it's going to suggest that you change it. If you right click and go to add to dictionary, it will save. And if you're writing future books in your series, you never have to worry about that nasty red underline again when writing that name. So there are some perks and benefits to using Word. Not everyone uses it. A lot of people use Scrivener or Pages or Final Draft. There's a lot of programs out there that you can use to write. And again, I'm not shilling anything or trying to suggest that anyone, use this, that, or the other thing. You use whatever's best for you. If you want to freaking write a document in Notepad, do it. Whatever's going to get you to write. Don't let the technical aspect of this venture discourage you from writing. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this, is so nobody gets discouraged, that they can just open up a page and say, I'm just going to start writing, and not going to stop. This is a way to make it easier for a lot of those just starting out. So that's why I'm making this. A lot of people have asked me to send them my template, and I thought, well, instead of doing that, why don't I just show everyone how to do it? Not only because I should refresh myself, since when I created my template, it was about 3 years ago. And just in case that ever gets corrupted or I need to make a new one, I should probably have something of a backup in case all goes to hell. So back to the Pilcrow, which is this lovely little backwards P symbol right here. This is something that you always want enabled when you are writing. It looks annoying now. It may look annoying if you're not used to it and you start writing after the first few pages, but believe me, just like dialogue tags, it will just disappear in your mind. It is only there to show you nasty little things like tab or shift enter. I did control enter. Fun fact for those who are starting out, if you hit control enter and say you're going into a new chapter, that creates a page break. So just in case you don't know that, I'm not going to make any assumptions here. This is something that's just the foundation when you're writing. This is something that you don't have to go back and fix the tab here, indent here. This is something that you can use, tweak upon and use for a book, like a finished product, a finished piece of art that you're getting ready to upload to a website or distribute to a publisher or anything like that. This is something that you can use for that purpose. So that's why I have this, and that's why I'm doing this. So as you can see, Calibri, that nasty little font, I freaking hate it. I hate seeing it. I even hate when I'm not using my template and I have to write out something for someone, like an email or a draft of something, and I just see this little shitty font and I'm just kind of like, ugh. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and tweak a couple of things. So you have a formatted document that you can just go right into you know, you're just going to type away. You don't want to worry about the little shitty technical details. Again, that's what I'm here for, to help so you don't have to worry about that stuff and you can just write, and only cry when it comes time to edit your book. Not before. So the first thing we're going to do, again, this is 2010 Word. It's not 2010 now, it's 2017. We're going to change a couple of things that happen when you type. So Word is very smart. It was designed by very smart people. I'm not going to deny that. So there's a lot of things that they think are helpful, but for us not so smart people, cough artists, we don't give a shit about any of that. We use it for one purpose. So what we're going to do is we're going to first go to File, and we're going to go into Options. Proofing, when you get to Word Options, you're going to go into Proofing, and you're going to change a few things. You can change some other things. Okay, for example, this right here, check spelling as you type. There are a lot of writers who will tell you to make sure that all this down here is unchecked, and that's fine. It will not alert you if you've made a typo, or it won't auto-correct a word, like if you type your, like Y-U-O-R, you know, for example, you know, little things that'll just say, oh, no, I know what they're trying to do, so they, you know, transpose the letters. There's a lot of things that are helpful that Word does that you don't need to worry about. Again, this is something, it really all depends on your style of writing and what you want to be alerted to. Check spelling as you type could be great for immediate, oh crap, I typed that wrong, gotta fix it. And you could right click and you could just select a word, or you could just retype it. Again, some people don't like that, so everything here is optional to your preference. But what we're going to do is we're going to change the autocorrect options. And these are things that we don't want to be hassled by when we're writing. The first one we're going to do is we're going to click on Auto Format as you type. So I guess it's saved. Fun stuff. Anyway, all of this was checked for me. Like before, I was actually going through this to make sure I was doing this correctly. And I guess it saved it. Most of this, when you look, you'll see right now, it'll have checks in there. What you want to do is get rid of everything. There are a couple of things you can keep if you really want to keep it. One of the ones I highly suggest that you uncheck is internet and network paths with hyperlinks. For example, if in your character's dialogue they're talking to another character and they're saying, hey, go to my website, www.bettinabiziello.com. If I had this checked and I were to type that in my document, it would create a hyperlink, and it would cause a lot of weird problems when you're uploading that to like whatever service or distributor that you're using for your books. It can also be annoying if you accidentally click it in your document and it makes all these little weird, there's little things that you don't see, like these little markups that happen on the back end in Word. And it's basically junk, like just little coding that happens on the back end that when you upload it, say to Amazon or something, it'll detect that coding. It's extra information. You don't want that to process in there. So again, you don't want anything that's going to interfere with your document in the long run. Even though I'm suggesting or helping you make this make this document so you don't, so you could just write and, do your thing. It's also something that you don't want to have to say, okay, well, this formatting's wrong. I have to go back and change this, delete that. These are things that you don't want to be hassled by later on. So again, all of this should be unchecked. The other thing that some people might want to keep, and it is really nice, is the hyphens with the M dash. If you're not sure what that was called, it's called an M dash. So if you've ever read a book, which if you're a writer, I hope you have, you'll see like a straight line, and this isn't just a hyphen, like a hyphenated word. An em dash is the hyphen double length, and it's one solid line. You can make it so you can type hyphen hyphen, then hit space or whatever is after that, and it'll, or like the next letter, and it'll just create that it'll convert it into a solid line. That is perfectly fine to keep. I have made it my own habit to do the alt code. So if you're using a Windows machine and you have like a Windows setup computer keyboard, you would hold down the alt key and you would type 0151, and that creates an em dash. So if, for those who still don't know what an em dash is, for example, if your character's talking and they're interrupted, or there's like a thought like, you know, like, oh, maybe I put it in the, oh, wait, I know where it is. Like right before the, oh, wait, I know where it is would be the em dash. So it's kind of like an interruption, I guess you would say. It's great for dialogue if you don't use it frequently. I do. I'm an em dash junkie. I've been yelled at about it before. I was ellipsis junkie too, but well, we won't go down that road. But anyway, so you can, if you can't remember Alt 0151 for your code for an em dash, you can do that. But you just have to be mindful of, oh, this is where I would insert an em dash. Okay, I'm going to type in, you know, hyphen hyphen, and then it'll automatically convert it. So there are things you still have to remember regardless if you have this checked or not. Again, for the purposes of this, I'm unchecking it. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to auto format. Again, this removed a lot of stuff for me because I did it already. Didn't mean to, but it did. Everything under the apply section, you're going to uncheck all of that. You're going to get rid of all of this shit. This is auto formatting. This is not as you type. So this is all you really need to be concerned with. It's up here. You can uncheck the rest of this too, but this does not affect your document while you're writing. But except these are the things that you don't want, and this has to do with like the basic format. When you open up a new document, you start typing. These are the things that, you know, the way your paragraph's aligned, that sort of stuff. So that's why you want to make sure everything under apply, all of this is unchecked. And you're going to click OK. You're going to click OK again. All right, the next thing we're going to do, and this is pretty much, this is it. This is that beautiful indentation, you know, when you're typing and you have a paragraph that looks like it was professionally done. When you pick up a print book, the way you see those words aligned, and, you know, where the dialogue sections are and the thought section, you know, all of that stuff. This is what we're going to be creating to make sure that when you're typing, even if it's something you need to fix later on, like, you know, I don't like that sentence, or I don't like that thought, or this should be in a separate section than that. This is the stuff where you can easily track the way you're writing your novel. And what we're going to be using is on this ribbon up here. Now, be mindful that there's a purpose for every single one of these. For example, heading 1 is typically for a table of contents. Now, I can get into how to make a table of contents, give you a quick rundown. That's really not the goal of this. I will be making a new video specifically for that purpose on formatting of finished novels that your book's been mostly through editing and you're almost ready to send it, you know, out into the world. There are other things you want to do to make sure that everything is polished, finished, you know, ready to go. I'll be making a video for that. But just on the back of your mind, this controls up here, this controls a lot of that. What we're going to be doing, and this is what you will always be on, is the normal functionality here. So we need to tweak this because that hideous friggin' font, I want to say it again. So we're going to right click up here. And necessarily, you don't have to right click up here. You can click on this and do the same thing down here. You know, you can go to options, you can right click right here and change the style, anything you want to do. But I like to keep things simple. And if you right click over stuff, There's all sorts of magical things that come up in the window. But anyway, so I'm going to right click under the normal section. I'm going to go to modify. There's a few changes that we need to make. The font, you can either do this before or after. I have it set because I use it frequently. So we're going to go to Times New Roman, or you could just scroll down for it. The font size is 12. That is, again, by default. Chapter headings have different font sizes. Again, this is something I'll be going over in a different video. We do not want bold, italicized, underlined. We don't want any of that checked. We also want the font color to be automatic. One of the reasons for this is when you have a reader and you say, I want the font to always be orange, that person may be like, no, I don't like orange. I hate this color. This color reminds me of the time I went to the beach and I was traumatized by a crab. You don't want to do anything crazy. You just want to be automatic. And even if you think, oh, well, black, it's got to be black because that's the default font type, right? Well, what happens is if you select a color, even if it's black, which generally when people are reading their ebooks, they read it in black lettering. If their iPad or their Kindle dims or goes into night mode or low light settings, the font color will not change for them, which can also be a problem. Automatic allows the font to be adjusted by the device, by the reader. If they want to read your book in frickin' orange font, then they will do it. You just don't want to make that choice for them. You want them to make that choice. So automatic allows that to be adjusted by whatever device it's going to be going to once the file's converted to an EPUB, Mobi file, PDF, whatever. So this is what this should look like. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go over here in the bottom left and we're going to click on Format. And we're going to click on Paragraph. There's a couple things here that we need to fix. For example, the indentation should always be 0 over here. The spacing before and after. Again, this could change for a couple things. The after spacing, that could do with if you have like poetry or you're writing a manual. You could tweak these to have custom spacing. Again, this is stuff I could probably look up and show you. It's not relevant to what we're doing, so there's no point. If you were desperate to have somebody show you how to do this, you could send me an email. You could send me some feedback. And you're like, I'm trying to write an essay for college. I'm trying to write a manual for a radio. Whatever you need. If you need something or someone to show you how to do it, I will do that for you. This is specifically for fiction authors who self-publish, or anybody who wants to write a book. I mean, I will do anything I can to help people, so you don't have to worry about this crap. But there are little things you can do to make the font or the spacing or the indentation be customized, centered to the left to the right, with, double space in between. There's all sorts of crap you could do. Next thing we're going to do, and this is the indent for the first line. So when you type and you see that nice little indent, you continue to type and it wraps around to the next line and the words are now closer to the margin. That's how we kind of want it to look. So what we're going to do here is, you never want it to be more than 1/2 inch, but I'm going to do 0.3. It's a nice little, safe little indent. You don't want it to be small either. This will also tell the file that it has an indentation already. When you convert it through Amazon, if it doesn't have any sort of indentation in there, or if you decided to do the ugly little arrow and press the tab key on your keyboard, it will screw your document up so badly, people won't be able to read it. It'll just look funkified through and through. So we want to tell Amazon, there's an indent here, you do not need to create one. So you should have something in there, even if it's 0.01. You need to have something in there. However, if you want to look, again, like a polished, finished, professional book, even if you did everything on your own, point 3 is the goal here. Line spacing. We are not submitting this to be graded. This is a novel. You want to have single or 1.5. And you don't want anything in here. This can cause the most havoc in your books. Like if you have something in here, like if you do it at least, and you have like a number or anything in here, it can cause, like when it's converted and it goes into an e-reader, it can have text overlapping each other. There's some nasty business that can happen if you do not keep it simple at single with nothing there. So basically, this is all you need to change. Is what this is what it should look like. Zeros throughout, single line, nothing in here. First line indentation of 0.3, no greater than 0.5. You click OK. And make sure it's Times New Roman, 12 size font, automatic color, no bold, no italics, no underline. This is where all of your font should be. Once you've done this, you should never go up here and say, okay, I want it to make this font or that font. That's something that you will never need to do, or you shouldn't do, because that, again, when it goes through the conversion process, it's going to always revert back to whatever this is right up here. So if you never change that, and it's that shit font, Calibri, then when a reader gets your book and they download it from Amazon or wherever, it's going to go by whatever was in the file, and it's going to be Calibri, no matter what you did over here. The only time that it retains this information and it's saved and something you don't have to go back and tweak or whatever is when you do a bold. Like, so for example, oops, I didn't mean to type it there. Okay. You type this, I like pandas. Okay. I want people to know that I friggin' like pandas. So like when you highlight this, a little pop-up comes up. You could either do it here, you could do it up here. And you just bold it out. That's fine. Most of the time you will not be using bolds when you're writing a novel. The only thing you should ever use when you are writing is italics. Underline is something you don't use. If you read a book that has an underline to like stress the word, like I like the ever-living shit out of pandas, you know? The underline was the old school way of telling the editor or publisher that this needed to be italicized. This had to be manually done years ago. So underline is something that is never used now. Like it's not necessary because you're telling it to be italics. So italics is the only acceptable font change that you do as you're writing, you know? Again, I know this is not a writing advice blog, but let's just say you're writing in a foreign language, or you're making a reference of a whisper or something, or it's like I'm having a conversation in my head, or you're basically indicating that what you're writing is not in a normal tone. Like for example, when I don't know other languages, but if I'm trying to indicate that there's a conversation happening in another language, I will make the whole thing italicized. So, but if there's like, for example, or even if it's a thought, like you're indicating that character's actively thinking, you know, like, I don't like this anymore. You know, they have this thought that would also be in italics. But if it's a word that they're like, I don't like this anymore, like they're trying to stress, sort of like you would tell people, I love pandas. Like, let's just say, you know, love would be italics. Well, if it's like a thought or a foreign language and you're trying to indicate that you're stressing the word love, then you would unitalicize it. And that will change it to have the same meaning but reverse. It's just something that I found helpful when I'm writing. Again, I'm trying not to make a writing advice blog here. This is strictly for technical how-to. But that is a little technical, so, you know, bear with me on that. So once that's completed, that's pretty much all you have to really worry about as far as writing goes. Now you should be able to write whatever you want. You know, you can see red lines. Again, you can change it if you don't want to. It will automatically make the first letter after a period uppercase. Again, you can change that if you'd like. Oop. Yay. So now it goes to the next line. And then if I hit enter, it'll go with the indentation. Something else to note, and this is, again, the Pilcrow activates a lot of things. It tells you when something is happening. For example, if you hit tab or if you hit shift enter. These are the little ugly arrows I told you about. It'll also let you know if you have a double space between words and letters. So I'm pretty mindful of it. It'll create one of those grammatic suggestions. If you, like, for example, if I were to make an extra space here, Word says, you made an extra space there. Reminder, it'll like kind of flag it for you. Not that anything is spelled incorrectly here. It's that there's something in the document that needs your attention. If you right click, you can do ignore once. There's no way to permanently ignore that. I've had Word suggest things to me that's completely incorrect, and every time I open up the document, the blue line, I have to tell it to ignore every single freaking time. That's going to be a thing. I'm pretty sure there's a way to change that in a document. If you know how to change that, let me know. Like if I tell it to ignore it, and this is not a problem. I assure you, I intended to do this so that the next time I open up my book, it doesn't come up again. You know, if someone knows a quick way of doing that, let me know. Otherwise, it's pretty good about telling you when there's something that needs to be fixed, including the double space between words. So there's like little dots, little things that you could be mindful of. Pilcrow is like an amazing little tool. Anyway, that's it. That's all there really is to it. This is a default document that you can save as, let's get rid of the words here. I'm going to save this as I guess I could just save it on my desktop. And I'm just going to do template 2. Okay, the other thing that you should be mindful of is that if you're using a newer version of Word, a lot of the retailers or wherever you choose to upload your book for like Kindle, you know, like Amazon or Smashwords or whatever, they don't accept docx format. With that said, if you use Calibre and you're trying to convert your own document into a MOBI or an EPUB file, it only accepts docx format. There's few things that change on the front end as far as your template goes. You don't have to worry about that. However, when you write, just in case there's like a little weird thing that happens or something that's, again, that data that you don't see, but it's in the background, all that junk information that gets processed. In order to avoid that, your initial document should be saved just as a doc. Should be Word 97 to 2003 doc. So make sure that when you're saving this, it's saved as a .doc, not docx. You can do both. It's not a problem. Or, for example, if you need to see, now it's in compatibility mode, perfectly fine. It's not going to interrupt anything. Just be mindful of this. And again, I'm going to have a video on if you want to convert your files, you know, say that your file's ready to go, but you've uploaded it to Amazon. Amazon doesn't do anything except, you know, Kindle files, which are MOBI files. So if you have someone who reads an EPUB, or you want someone's asking you for a PDF copy, or you're sending it out to a beta reader who only accepts certain things, and you know they need to move these documents onto their device and it's not available online yet, and you need to do your own conversions, it needs to be a docx. And the program that I know how to use is Calibre, so I will show, that's another video, I will show you how to do that. However, this is just a template. This is just something basic that you can use to start writing and not have to worry about, you know, going back or filtering it out. Or say you actually have written something and you're uploading to a site that may only accept Word documents. And you're like, oh crap, I wrote this and there's, you know, tabs and there's this and that. And there's all sorts of crap in here. I don't know what to do. What you want to do is first save your file. And the next thing you want to do is highlight everything. Like you can just do the click at the top, hold Control or Shift, and click at the bottom and just highlight everything in between, and right click, and you can do copy or just, you know, Control C. You can go into a template that you've created, like this one, for example. I would create a new one because a template is a template. You don't ever want to save the original. You want to create a new one and then write in that one or copy in that one or whatever. And then you would just paste the original document into like a text file. Like if you are using Word, you know, a text or notepad, you right click, you go, you know, open new text document, paste all of the entire book in there. And then that's going to get rid of all the little indents or weird things that you did in your file. And then you're going to copy it from the text file and you're going to paste it in here. That's going to give you a fresh start for a book that you've already written that maybe you didn't have the proper format or the proper setup, or you're getting a lot of, you know, websites kicking it back to you saying this file's unacceptable, or this file has problems or errors or this or that. This allows you to get rid of all the extra shit, keep all of your words, and allow you to start over in a template that's pre-formatted. You may have to tweak some things, you know, there's a couple things in text you might have to do, like get rid of like word wrap, that sort of thing. This should allow you to make it easier to adjust a book that's already been written, especially if you're having problems. So again, rather than send my template to everybody else, I wanted to make sure that you all knew how to do it on your own. So hopefully this helps. If you have any questions or you don't understand anything, or you have an older version of Word and you're like, what the fuck do I do? Send me an email. You could either send it at bettina.bazziello@gmail.com or bb@bettinabazziello.com. So, or you could go to bettinabazziello.com and leave me feedback in the comments section. I am open to everything. I just want to help people, especially since I spent so much time trying to get started. Again, it stifles creativity. It prevents people from getting their work out. You have a great idea and you're like, all I want to do is just write this down. And then you're dealing with Calibri font. I don't want that to happen to anyone. Anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. If this video was helpful, please share it to anybody, you know, who's an aspiring writer, wants to get started. They don't really know how, or they just need some help with the basics. That's what I'm here for. I will be doing some more videos on proper ebook formatting, conversion, uploading. If you have an ebook and you're like, I want to get into the paperback game, yeah, I can make a video on how to convert an existing file to a paperback file with, you know, minimal hassle. So again, like, subscribe. Happy writing, happy reading. Create, create, create. Don't worry about the little stuff.